Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today's video is the surgical anatomy of hip joint. The surgical anatomy of hip joint is an important essay. In this video we will see the gross anatomy of hip joint with few more surgical anatomy aspects of the hip joint, because to create interest in the hip joint few more surgical anatomy aspects are added. In the CBME curriculum, the surgical anatomy should be given important so that the student will be having or learning interest to learn the anatomy. So those who have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe now. In our channel we have more than 200 gross anatomy videos, so do subscribe now, keep watching the videos. Now we will move on to the topic surgical anatomy of hip joint. So this is the normal hip joint. So this is the normal hip joint, and this is the hip joint with arthritis, that is osteoarthritis of hip joint. Osteoarthritis is common in the elderly. So this is the deformed articular cartilage causing severe pain in the joint in the elderly. So you should have known, if you have elderly persons in the house, they will have the joint pains in the knee, hip, and also in the upper limb major joints also. So this osteoarthritis can affect any joint, and this is the osteoarthritis of hip joint. So we have to know what are the articular surfaces in the hip joint to know about the the osteoarthritis affects the hip joint. So this hip joint is the type is multi-axial spheroidal type of synovial. So the spheroidal is the term better used in the place of ball and socket. It is multi-axial. This hip joint is the largest joint in the body, having stability as well as mobility. So it's an important joint having both. If you compare this hip joint with the shoulder joint has higher mobility but less stability. The hip joint is known for its stability and also for its mobility. Articular surfaces proximally acetabulum of hip bone and distally head of the femur. So this is the acetabulum of the hip bone. You can compare this acetabulum and the glenoid fossa in the shoulder joint. So this deeper acetabulum, and this is the articular surface, lunate shaped articular surface. So acetabulum is not entirely articular, only this lunate shaped articular surface, and this middle acetabular fossa is filled with the fat. And this deeper acetabulum is still deepened by the acetabular labrum, so that it will have the more articular surfaces. What is acetabular labrum? Fibrocartilage attached to the acetabular margin. So this is the acetabular labrum, fibrocartilage attached to the acetabular margin to deepen the socket still. So this is the another articular surface, head of the femur, and it has a fovea in the head of the femur. So that what is its importance, this fovea we will learn. And this head of the femur, and you should know this neck of the femur. This arrangement of this head and neck of the femur is more important for its mobility. So what is attached to the head of the femur is the ligament of the head of the femur. Again, this ligament of head of femur is binding this acetabulum and the head of the femur, having its attachment to the fovea of the femoral head and to the acetabular notch, and it also to convey the blood vessels to the head of the femur. So this is the ligament of head of the femur, how it binds this acetabulum and head of the femur, which is causing again more stability to the hip joint. So the hip joint is more stable because of its deeper acetabulum and this surrounding strong ligaments and muscles, and this important ligament head of the femur attachment also causes the stability. So osteoarthritis, with the osteoarthritis, how it affects the articular surfaces and the articular cartilages we have learnt. Now another applied aspect or surgical anatomy of the hip joint is fracture of neck of femur. Even though neck of femur is not the articular surface, it is inside the capsule, intracapsular. So this fracture of the neck of the femur may be through the proximal narrow part or the distal broader part, but it is entirely intracapsular. So here is the attachment of the capsule. We will learn the capsule in the ligaments section. So here will be the attachment of the capsule. So you can appreciate. So this intracapsular neck of fracture of the femur. So this, if you see this fracture of the femur, this neck of femur is more prone for fractures than the shaft of the femur. So you can appreciate now the head of the femur is having its detachment from the shaft. So it may affect this blood supply to the head of the femur also. So we should know the blood supply, how it is entering the, we have learnt in the ligament of head of femur, it is carried via the ligament of head of femur. So if we have learnt the one of the applied aspect, fracture of neck of femur, another is acquired dislocation of the hip joint, dashboard injury. So you can appreciate this knee is flexed. So the knee is flexed so that severe violence or severe trauma will cause this dislocation. So to know this dislocation, we should appreciate how strong the ligaments are. So this is the, with the knee flexed and it is damaged in the dashboard injury, and you can appreciate the severe impact of the trauma or which causes this dislocation of the hip joint. And usually acquired dislocation of the hip joint is, the hip joint is dislocated posteriorly. You can appreciate in this also. So it is dislocated posteriorly. The dislocation of the hip joint is very rare unless it is severely impacted like this, because of the strong ligaments which prevent the dislocation. So now we will learn the ligaments of the hip joint. Iliofemoral ligament or ligament of Bigelow. This is the strongest, second strongest ligament in the body next to the sacroiliac ligament. So this is the Y-shaped ligament. The stem is attached to the anterior inferior iliac spine and these bands are attached to the intertrochanteric line of the femur. So you can appreciate this, how strong it is. This ligament of Bigelow, second strongest ligament. When it is torn, it causes this posterior dislocation of the hip joint in the dashboard injury. So this is the iliofemoral ligament and this is the pubofemoral ligament. Pubofemoral ligament, it is attached to the iliopubic eminence and which is blending with the medial band of the iliofemoral ligament. Ischiofemoral ligament, it is posterior, attached to the ischium, close to the acetabular margin. So students can remember, hip bone has three parts: ilium, ischium, pubis. So three ligaments: iliofemoral, pubofemoral and ischiofemoral ligament. How strong these ligaments, we have understood. How this dashboard injury is causing this posterior dislocation of the hip joint. So this is the ischiofemoral ligament. So this is the ischiofemoral ligament. So we have learnt surgical anatomy of osteoarthritis, fracture of neck of femur, acquired dislocation of the hip joint. Even congenital dislocation of the hip is common only mostly in the girls. It is, the girls are born with congenital dislocation. It should be diagnosed earlier to treat. So the causes of dislocation are the bony parts or articular surfaces are having deficiency. Acetabular cavity is shallow. Upper part of acetabulum is poorly developed. Lateral wall of the pelvis is more vertical. So bony factors cause this congenital dislocation of the hip in the girls. So femoral head is dislocated towards the ilium, gluteal surface of the ilium. This causes coxa valga. What is coxa valga? We will see. Coxa valga and coxa vara. Next shaft angle is decreased in coxa valga, and in coxa vara it is increased. Sorry, it is coxa vara is decreased and coxa valga is increased. So now you should know the normal angle of inclination, which is decreased in the coxa vara and it is increased in the coxa valga. So if it is decreased and increased, then the movements will be affected. So you can appreciate. So in the congenital dislocation of the hip, this normal angle of inclination is affected. So fracture neck of femur in old adults. So they are not having anyone to take care of them in the house or in the orphan homes or in the older age homes. So they are left unattended without treatment. It may cause the avascular necrosis of the femur. Why? We should know how the blood supply of the hip joint is entering the hip joint. We will learn. So this blood supply passes through this transverse acetabular ligament, so which extends across the acetabular notch. So what are the arteries that enter? Obturator, medial circumflex femoral. They form the anastomosing chain across the neck of the femur, which enter through this transverse acetabular ligament and through the ligament of head of femur. Nerves we will learn side by side along with the vessels. Femoral, obturator, and also the nerve to quadratus femoris superior gluteal nerves. So you can appreciate so many nerves, other nerves, femoral, obturator. So the referred pain of this hip joint may be referred in some other areas of the back of the thigh, back of the knee also, or in the front of the thigh. So blood supply we will continue. So this arteries pass through the below the transverse acetabular ligament through the ligament of head of the femur to supply this. So to supply this head of the femur, it passes like this. So this fracture of the neck of the femur causes this avascular necrosis of the femur. Another clinical anatomy is Perthes disease. Femoral head undergoes avascular necrosis in childhood, maybe due to trauma. So many applied anatomy of this we have learned. So the last applied aspect is the total hip replacement surgery. So which is nowadays very common. Hip replacement, knee replacement surgeries. So they are the very much expensive surgeries done by the orthopedic surgeons. If you become orthopedic surgeons, you will be doing every day total hip replacement. So the part of this head along with the neck of the femur is cut and the acetabulum is also cut. A metal ball and stem are inserted into the femur and plastic socket is placed in the enlarged pelvis cup. So this is the osteoarthritis of the hip joint. So this is the osteoarthritis of the hip joint. It is replaced with the total hip replacement surgery. So this osteoarthritis of the hip joint is common in the Western countries and osteoarthritis of the knee joint is common in our country because of our commode practice in the toilets. But nowadays this hip osteoarthritis is also common in India. So you should know how to approach the hip joint if you want to do the total hip replacement. Anterior approach, anterolateral approach, lateral approach, posterior approach. So to do all these approaches, you should know the relations of the hip joint. Then only you can reach the hip joint. So what are the relations of the hip joint? We will know. Though this is the fibrous capsule attachment attached above to the acetabular margins and below to the femoral neck. And a synovial membrane lines the inner surface of the capsule and also the ligament of the head of the femur. Below it surrounds the femoral neck. In front to the intertrochanteric line, behind 1 centimeter above the intertrochanteric crest. So to reach this hip joint, you should know the relations of the hip joint in front and behind and laterally. And so what are the approaches we have learnt? Anterior, anterolateral, lateral and posterior. So anterior approach, what will be present here? So in front of hip joint, iliopsoas and the rectus femoris is just above the hip joint. Then structures in the femoral triangle, they are in front of the hip joint. So again laterally you will have the sartorius. So sartorius forms the lateral relation. Then if you see the behind, this is the gluteus maximus, medius, minimus. Then these are the small muscles just covered by the gluteus maximus. You should have learned piriformis, obturator, internus, externus, quadratus femoris. And again origin of the hamstring muscles. So these are the relations in front, behind, above is rectus femoris. So now we will see the relations of the hip joint. In front, floor of the femoral triangle and its content. So if you want to reach the hip joint through the anterior approach, you have to reach through this, but this anterior approach is not used mostly. Behind, posterior approach is commonly used in if you want to do extensive approach in the hip joint. So this is mostly preferred. So you should have to dissect via the gluteus maximus, medius and minimus. Above is reflected head of rectus femoris and gluteus minimus. Below is pectineus and obturator externus. So these relations of the hip joint you should know if you want to operate in the hip joint. To do the surgeries, most common surgery nowadays done is the total hip replacement surgeries. So we will complete this hip joint with the flexion and extension and the movements, other movements of the hip joint also. So it is a multi-axial, so all the movements of the hip joint we will learn. Flexion and extension. So axis will be transverse. Flexion and extension, axis transverse through the neck of the femur to the center of femoral head. Range of flexion you can appreciate if you in your own hip joint. If you are having extended knee and flex your hip joint, it will be only 90 to 100 degree. You flex the knee, your knees, then you do the flexion of hip joint, so that this hip and abdominal wall, anterior abdominal wall will approximate, that is 120 degree. Flexors, you should remember, iliopsoas, front muscles will be the flexors. So in the hip joint, front the muscle structures in front will form the flexors and behind will be causing the extensors. In the knee, front muscles will be the extensors and back muscles will be the flexors. So in the rest of the lower limb it will be like that, but sparing the hip joint. So front muscles form the iliopsoas. Iliopsoas will form the flexors and flexors of hip joint. So you can appreciate in this one picture how to learn this muscles causing this flexors. You can appreciate this color. So they are the iliopsoas. Then this blue color, they are the adductors. Behind muscles, that is the gluteus maximus and hamstring muscles, are the hip extensors. Abductors are the gluteus medius and minimus. So this abductors form the medial rotation also. This lateral extensors will form the lateral rotation also. Extension is limited in hip joint. You try to do extension in the hip joint, it's only 10 to 20 degree. Because of the tension of the iliofemoral ligament, extension of hip joint is not possible below the or not possible beyond the range of 10 to 20 degree. Extensors are the gluteus maximus and hamstrings. So that in normal standing, hamstring muscles will cause the extension of hip joint. If you are raising in the stairs and you are running, then the extension is caused by the powerful muscle gluteus maximus. Adduction and abduction axis, anteroposterior axis, which passes through the center of head of femur. Adductors simple, you can tell adductor muscles in the medial side of the thigh muscles. So they are the adductors. Abductors, you should remember the gluteal muscles. Gluteus medius and minimus, tensor fasciae lata and sartorius. They are the abductors of the hip joint. Rotation will have the vertical axis through the center of femoral head to the lateral condyle of the femur. Medial rotators, the same extents abductors will cause the medial rotation. Anterior fibers of gluteus medius, minimus and tensor fasciae lata. Lateral rotators, gluteus maximus is a strong lateral rotator and short lateral rotators are the piriformis, obturatus, gamelli and quadratus femoris. So we have learnt the movements of the hip joint also. So we are having so many applied anatomy of the hip joint. But how to examine the hip joint? Have you thought? You can examine the shoulder, elbow, wrist, knee joint, ankle joint. But since the hip joint is deeper, inaccessible for examination, certain lines in the radiographs you should learn: Nilaton's line, Bryan's line, Shenton's line. We have discussed about these lines in our channel in the radiological anatomy section. You can see. So you have to take the x-rays of the hip joint and you have to know these lines to understand whether this hip joint is dislocated, whether this neck of the femur is fractured, so that you will have the diagnosis. So you learn these lines in the radiological anatomy section in our channel. So this is also important, how to examine the hip joint. So we have learnt the hip joint in this video with a different approach, surgical anatomy of hip joint. We have learnt so many surgical anatomy and related gross anatomy. Dislocation of hip joint, acquired dislocation, congenital dislocation, coxa valga, coxa vara, then dashboard injury causing this acquired dislocation of the hip joint, osteoarthritis of hip joint, which may be surgically replaced by the total hip replacement surgery. Fracture of the neck of the femur may cause the avascular necrosis of the femur because of the peculiar blood supply to the head of the femur. So we have learnt the hip joint in detail and the strong ligaments and the related muscles we have learnt to approach the hip joint also, and we have learnt the movements of the hip joint also in this video. So we have completed the hip joint in very detail in this video. So learn this important topic. Do subscribe now. Keep watching the videos. Thank you.